and welcome to this edition of the Native News Update on this Tuesday, March 8th. I'm your host for today's program, Paul DeMain. Many of the stories read here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com. So here are some of the news stories from the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. The Indian Pueblo Cultural Center will open with a Smithsonian traveling exhibit called IndiVisible, African Native American Lives in the Americas, focusing on the seldom viewed history and lives of people of dual African and Native American ancestry. The public opening reception is on March 25th at 6 p.m. and will feature Richard Larkus, governor of the Pueblo of Laguna, as Laguna as keynote speaker. Throughout the themes of policy, community, creative, resistance, and lifestyles, the exhibition tells stories of cultural integration and diffusion, as well as a struggle to define and preserve identity. IndiVisible, produced by the National Museum of the American Indian, is a collaboration with the National Museum of African American History and Culture and the Smithsonian Institute Traveling Exhibition Service, and will be on view through September 24th of 2011. Since the arrival of Christopher Columbus in the Americas, the lives of Native and African people have been closely intertwined. From pre-colonial times, they intermarried, established communities, and shared their lives and traditions. Blended tribes work to preserve their land and rebel against displacement. Their survival strategies include involvement in social movements, joining together to fight oppressive conditions, and regaining economic sustainability. Their unique African Native American cultural practices through food, language, writing, music, dance, the visual arts have thrived. Exhibition descriptions and tour schedules are available at www.sites.si.edu, and we'll put that URL up there so you can find it and see it. New Mexico's top water officials say they're concerned the state could run out of time and miss a federal deadline for paying its share to implement American Indian water rights settlements that were decades in the making. The state engineer's office, lawmakers, and others are scrambling during the current legislative session to come up with at least a portion of the $130 million that will ultimately be needed to help the federal government and tribes implement the water agreements. It was unprecedented last fall when Congress approved 4 settlements to deliver clean drinking water to tribes in New Mexico, Arizona, and Montana. Montana has set aside its share required as part of a settlement with the Crow tribe, but New Mexico has only banked about $10 million for its portion of the settlements. The South Dakota Department of Education has picked a new Native Education Director. Roger Campbell of Pierre, South Dakota, previously served as the director of the state's Office of Tribal Governmental Relations. He was selected for the position by a panel consisting of members of the Indian Education Advisory Council, the South Dakota Board of Education, and Department of Education staff. The popular Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker and Congressman Sean Duffy will be visiting northern Wisconsin for the first time since Walker's election, and it appears that he may be bringing the anger he has generated from just about pissing off everybody along with him. Walker will be in Washburn, Wisconsin from 4 to 6 p.m. this Saturday, March 12th, while nearby in the Bad River Reservation there will be a pro-environment, anti-mining, and anti-Walker and Duffy gathering starting with a feast at noon. Rumor has it there will be fry bread. Later that afternoon, there will be a car caravan to Washburn, Wisconsin, where the group will meet up with other protesters over his budget union busting bill, which has led to his office stripping Democratic staffers of their right to use capital copying machines, and contemplated by his aides to hire Dwayne Dog Chapman to try to bring back at least one of the 14 state senators now in Illinois that are depriving the Senate of a quorum in order to do business. An exercise in democracy, Walker can't seem to get the billionaire Koch brothers to resolve. Interesting spring in Wisconsin with last Saturday's protests in Madison, Wisconsin, the biggest perhaps ever that the state has seen, and this weekend's demonstrations expecting to be even bigger. A subsidiary of the Chickasaw Nation unveiled its multi-million-dollar refurbishment of Remington Park last Thursday, including an infield video board touted as the largest of any American racetrack with a casino. Remington Park opened in 1988 and was considered a crown jewel among U.S. horse tracks, but it fell into disrepair before Global Gaming RP LLC bought it 14 months ago. When the company applied for a racing license, it promised the Oklahoma Horse Racing Commission it would spend $12 million on refurbishment. Global Gaming CEO John Elliott said the Chickasaw Nation's gambling arm has spent more than $15 million on Remington Park since buying it in January of 2010 from bankrupt Magna Entertainment Corporation for around $80 million. A federal judge has upheld a decision to designate land as a reservation, possibly opening the door to a tribal casino near Glendale, Arizona's sports and entertainment district. The Gila River Indian Community, Glendale, and Arizona state legislative leaders had sought to overturn the U.S. Department of Interior's decision last year to take 54 acres into trust for a different southern Arizona tribe. The Tohono O'odham Nation aims to build a casino, resort, shops, and restaurants on 54 acres near 95th and Northern Avenues there in Glendale. It was unclear how quickly the tribe would begin construction. Glendale officials and other opponents plan to appeal the judge's decision. In basketball, success is usually celebrated with the ceremonial cutting down of the net to mark a championship. But on a recent Saturday at the University of Nevada, Reno's Loyola Events Center, success on and off the court was celebrated through a traditional Native American gifting ceremony, seldom, if ever, seen in a college basketball arena. Tani Robinson, a senior guard on the UNR women's basketball team, received a Pendleton blanket from the Pyramid Lake Veterans and Warriors Association in honor of her community service with Native Americans in northern Nevada. The ceremony was part of a celebration of local Native Americans in conjunction with the February 26 Wolfpack women's game against New Mexico State University Aggies. And that is going to be the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. We want to thank you for joining with us today and come back again tomorrow for some more.